Hello and welcome to a new chapter, number 25 of Azure SQL Academy. In this episode number 6, we are going to review some important topics that I used to find when our customers are using managed instance or databases in an Elastic database pool. Suppose that the scenario is a performance issue. You have an Elastic pool and managed instance, but you don't know what is the database that is taking more time, or for example, is when you are review the query data store, you need to go through every database in order to review the main web stats. Well, in this case, we are going to use a PerfCollector Analyzer in order to review this information in aggregate way. Okay, and we need to use the PerfCollector that you could find in our blog.
My name is José Manuel Jurado. I am an escalation engineer working in Microsoft and subject matter expert in this technology.
So, what is based this demo? Well, basically, the idea is the following. We are going to use the PerfCollector. You could find some information in our lesson learned 220 and 221 about how to monitor this table. And we are going to use the PerfCollector Analyzer that you could find also in this lesson learned. Let's say, what are the advantages that we have using this one? Well, basically, the idea is to aggregate the query data for all databases that we have in Elastic Pool, Managed Instance, or Azure SQL database in just only one single server, and also review the best practice in terms of performance. We are going to also review the missing indexes in the global insights, the statistics, performance recommendations, etc. So the idea is the following. I'm going to run right now a PerfCollector for 3 databases that they have in my Elastic pool. Okay. And what is my goal? My goal is to review the best practice performance and obtain the data in aggregated way, okay, of query data store. Well, let's get started with the demo. So the idea is the following. I have an Elastic pool with 3 databases that I would like to collect all the data in terms of performance that I'm very interested about to check this one in just only one aggregate, having just only one table that contains all this information about it. Because as you know, when we review the tables, if I need to review the query data store, I need to go one by one in order to review query with the statistics in order to find. But the idea is to aggregate all this information in just only one single table. So I have this one. So the first idea that I have is to run the PerfCollector that we are going to collect for these 3 databases. Of course, that you could use in Managed Instance, SQL database. We choose Elastic Pool because it's one idea that I have. We are going to collect multiple information, so I'm going to run this process. You have more information about how to use the PerfCollector in our blog right now. So the idea is, right now I'm collecting the data for all query data store for multiple things, and all this information is going to be saved here in this folder. Okay, so you could have files based on the data that we took, for example, the statistics, etc. So at the end, we are going to have in this perf checker log, you could find information about the process that we run, how many statistics that we have per database. Also, we are going to have a total about how many statistics that we need to review, Right now, as you can see here, we have some examples about the possible missing statistics that you could find, etc. So at the end, you could see that you have this information in this file. So the idea right now is to run the PerfCollector Analyzer. That the idea is to read all this file and save this data in just only one single database. So right now I have this database. In this database, as you can see here, right now we are going to have, for example, the aggregation in terms of command timeout, fragmentation, indexes, and also we are going to save data about query data store. So all the tables that we have in query data store will be saved in just only one single table. For example, I'm going to show you right now in a demo. So for the reason I'm going to run right now the PerfCollector, the main idea that is the PerfCollector is doing is to read the data and save this data in this database. So right now the process finished. So let's go to this server. I'm going to refresh. So right now, for example, I'm going to check right now the table command timeout. So the command timeout, if I run the query, as you can see here, you could find for the database number 1, I have several tables that it's right now it was aborted, what was the query, and also how was the execution plan. In the similar manner about the fragmentation of the indexes, how much is the fragmentation of the per database and the indexes. Again, for statistics, the missing indexes, the statistics that we have for indexes, the missing indexes that we have per database right now, etc. Right? So other things, it's about that I think that is very important is how to retrieve the data and review the data in an aggregated way about the query data store, right? So the idea, I'm going to use the typical query that we have in order to obtain the accumulate date about the queries that we have per table. So right now, as you can see, we are going to use a query store plan, also a query store query. Let's go to the store query. As you can see here in this table, you could see the information that you could run using sys query store query, but you have a new column that is called database name. So right now, you have imported the data of this DMV, but including for all the databases that you have, right? So in this case, if I want right now to check the information an aggregated way without going to review every database that I have in my managed instance, or Elastic Pool, etc. Basically, the only thing that I need to change is instead to use sys, is to use this prefix, x total accumulate QDS. So the idea is if I run right now the query, as you can see here, I have the same information, but right now I have the information about the databases. I could see right now the information that we have per table, per queries, for example, how much that we have the executions, etc. I'm going to show you right now another example about it. Well, right now we have the data ready. So the idea is we are going to review what happened. So the idea is I'm going to use this URL that is we use to turn the perform with a query data store. As you can see here, you have these queries basically to obtain the data. So if I copy this one, for example, in one of my databases, for example, here, as we mentioned, is GMDB1. If I run the query, as you could see here, well, I have the data, but just only for one database. But I would like to review all the databases without going through all the databases. So the idea is the following. I'm going to chain the tables by the, as I mentioned, this prefix, okay, and also I'm going to join the data instead to, one second, I think that we could copy and paste this one. Yeah, okay. So the idea is, as you can see in this line, and first of all, it's from. From the idea is from query data store. The idea is to add this query, so this prefix, okay, replacing right now sys by my prefix x total accumulate, okay, and add give this underscore between this prefix and the name of the query. And also when we use this filter that we use the text ID and queries ID, I'm going also to add in the inner join using the name of the database, because as you know, I need to use this combination query ID plus DB in order to obtain the data, the real data per database. So I'm going to run this one. I have right now everything. If I run the query, as you could see right now, I'm able to see what happened, the top queries, not just only for one single database. The idea is to see for all the data that I have, including the name of the database. So right now I know that it seems that running this query, right now the query DB1 and DB2 is taking time when I run this process. So you could follow up all these queries and to do the same thing in order to see the query wait up. Basically, the only that you need, it's for example to change, as we mentioned before, using this prefix. Other example that I would like to share with you is, for example, this query, Higet's wait duration. So right now, if you run this query, you could see what is the wait durations per query in your database, but the idea is to review globally. Let's say all the databases that I have in my managed instance. Right now, I modify the SQL command statement that we have in this web page. So right now, if I run the query, you could see right now what are the queries that is taking the time per database. For example, this query, as you could see, is taking with this execution, as you could see, is taking this time for the different databases. So at the end, it's important to see this one. And also, if I want, for example, review what is the wait stats, let's say at database level, I could see what is at database level. Even, I don't know, if let's say, if I remove let's say the database, I think if I remove this one, and also I remove this one, I could see at the global level, if I run this one, what is, for example, the maximum type without using the database. For example, sorry, if I remove this one, 1 second, yeah, this one. For example, what are the maximum wait types that I have in my managed instance, in my server, in my elastic pool, or per database, etc. So at the end, basically is to modify the queries that we have in order to review at the global level what happened in your query data store.
Okay, thank you so much for attending these sessions. If you have any questions, please send an email to gmjurado@microsoft.com.